I firmly believe, as Roger, and I suspect many of you, that it is time for a new narrative. It's time for a new story in business. And that's really what compelled me to leave P&G. I wanted to pursue what is this new story, what is this new narrative, with 100% of my passion and 100% of my time. And this is a question that obviously kind of is at the root of all of this. What really does fuel true success? Or even happiness, if you will. And it's a question I've been asking for 30 years as I had a career at P&G and post P&G. One beautiful thing about working for a large multinational is you actually do get to, if you're curious, study a lot of cases. And I kind of tried to answer this question throughout my entire career and almost make a list for myself to keep me centered about what really, really drives success. And it helped me focus in every new assignment. And that list I want to share with you, and I just call it what I believe, and it's what I believe that fuels success and what I believe is behind great businesses. And the principles, I don't want to go into all these in depth because we'd spend all of our time doing this, but this is my beacon. This is my guiding light. This is what I believe, and this has been, you know, kind of verified through many experiences I've had in my career. So, and this one, I think whatever business you're in, your technological advantages will be short-term, right? Your new product advantages will be short-term. The only thing that's sustainable is your culture. And we spend too damn little time on that. And this other one on coherence. I mean, I had a little group meeting with some students before this, and we were talking about the lack of coherence. You know, the big faux pas that the Susan G. Komen Fund had last week was their behavior was highly incoherent. And they were penalized very, very quickly for it, and the good thing is they reacted pretty quickly. But anyway, I have built this up, and I also believe this one. When you aspire to change life, you're in the right space. In every category, in some way, every brand can change life. It's just about where you set your standards. So this is what I believe, but I wanted to prove it. And that's when I called Millward Brown. And I called them when I left P&G and I said, I used to be a big client, I'm now a small client, but I want to commission a study to understand really what drives success. I actually had worked on a similar project with them at P&G and I wanted to take that even deeper. So, we started with their wonderful Brand-Z database. It is the best one in the world to look at brand equity and financial results. We cut it for 10 years, looking back, for financial wealth creation, so shareholder value, and growth in consumer bonding. So we looked at growth in those two measures. We drew the line at 50 brands, and we found this aha, that there was something different going on in these cultures and on these brands. And what we did, I want to talk about the ideal for a minute and then talk a little bit more about what we did with the 50 brands we studied. It's a very ephemeral concept. I like the word. You could call it purpose. You could call it mission. But I like the word ideal because it has idea in it. And also an ideal is something you never achieve. So I found that these great businesses and the great brands I've been involved with, they ask very deeply, what is the reason we exist? What is the benefit we give to the world? What is our higher order space? And those brands that say that, articulate it, and then, by the way, act on it throughout the entire company, in every discipline, every geography, those are the ones that are showing extraordinary growth. So we drew the line of these 50 brands. And with the team at Millward Brown and my graduate students at UCLA Anderson, and we have something sort of a thesis that we do there, applied management research. They have to do it before they graduate. I had teams work on this with me, and this was their project. We crawled all over these 50 brands. We did a lot of desktop research, a lot of interviewing, some on-site visits, and I went personally to 12 of them. And I took a little video camera, and you'll see some of these handmade videos in some of the videos I show you today. But I wanted to look for stories, patterns, trends. What do they work on? How do they behave? What's rewarded? So we did a quantifiable part of this using the Millward Brown data, but then we looked for anecdotes and stories and patterns and trends. And the other thing we found with these 50 brands is as we looked at what's happened over the last 10 years and how they performed financially against the S&P 500, we found that they outperformed by about 400%. So they grew like crazy with the consumer. They were also rewarded with shareholder growth. So this new story, this new narrative, I believe needs a framework. You know, in my experience in many years at P&G and with the people that I consult with now, people learn through frameworks, right? You cannot scale something without a framework. So I wanted to offer a new framework for brands and business, and I wanted to tell stories about that framework. That was my goal with this book. So I like the metaphor of a tree, so I put my framework. It could have been P&G does a pyramid, people do diamonds. I like the tree because it's natural, it signals strength, it signals longevity, it signals an ecosystem. So this is the simple framework that is at the heart of the book I wrote, was at the heart of the research. And by the way, the course I teach at UCLA, we teach the tree. We go into certain parts of the tree, you know, as the course goes on, beginning with the base, understanding the people we serve and what our beliefs and values are, which leads to the ideal. So it has 5 elements. You discover this ideal, which, by the way, isn't just writing something down on paper and slapping on a wall. There's a system and a process for that. It has to be very, very much socialized and shared. Then you build the culture around it. And then you communicate like crazy inside and outside the company. You design your brand experience around it using design thinking as a key methodology, and you evaluate your people and your business against that. Simple.